Because before we talk about all the hype, what are some of the facts about STO? When I was asked to present on this topic, no matter on the market metrics, as well as which companies are doing STO, I believe that there are some of the points you should understand before talking about your company, whether you should do an STO or whether you should invest in one STO. So, to start off, security tokens are digital securities. And it probably will be disappointing for some of you because is it crypto? Is it new kind of asset class that was discussed in the panel? No, it's not. It's shares. So, in traditional finance, we have the share certificate. When you invest in a private company, you have your name record on the register of members if you invest in a private company. So what does it happen when your share certificate get lost? So you might go back to the issuers to look for a reissuance of the share cert, meaning that ownership of the shares are actually proven by your name on the register of members, ROM. Same case as digital securities or security tokens. Security tokens represent your share cert while your name are put on blockchain on the ROM, which is represented by the blockchain technologies. So nothing fancy. It's not a new asset class. It's just a new way to express shares. Wow, so you may ask, how could I, and what kind of access should I think about when it comes to digital securities? There are various types. Thinking about real estate is the largest illiquid asset market globally with over $100 trillion to be deployed in. If you want to invest in a group of commercial properties or even shopping malls, you may buy REITs in Singapore or Hong Kong. But what if you want to just buy a share of Grand Hyatt or you want to buy a share of Taikoo Shing? You could choose now buying digital securities with Grand Hyatt as an underlying asset. So that's an option. So what if you want to expose to new technologies and you want to invest in a closed-end fund, for instance, venture capital fund. So for myself, I'm not that rich. That's why I suffer from a lockup period. I don't want to invest in any funds over 5 years lockup. Now, you could be investing in a closed-end fund with no lockup because you could sell your shares to your friends who are professional investors. So what if you are an art collector? You want to buy Da Vinci's Mona Lisa, but you are not rich enough. Now, with this mechanism, you could buy a share of that piece of art. So that's all possible with digital securities in mind. But unlike ICOs, right, we have heard about regulations, a lot of governance issues happening in over past 12 months. We have Tesos facing a class action in the US side because of some of the issues happening with the founders. So major question by investors or a company as an asset owner, what is the regulations around STOs, right? We heard about the previous talk by Martin in terms of the regulations in Hong Kong and Singapore. As a firm, Liquidify believe that security tokens are shares, meaning that a lot of the standard procedures, for instance, in some cases, issuing prospectus for private shares placement, or to conduct KYC, AML, much more stringent than doing an ICO is appropriate in this case, meaning that the investor protection shouldn't get anything lower than investing in traditional securities. To get more investor protections or is another way to eliminate investor protections or to offer a way to root around existing regulatory regime. Now, security tokens won't trade like utility tokens. Again, to disappoint a lot of you because the volatility of these security tokens is aligned to the asset class underlying. So it won't be like purely based on demand and supply, such as Bitcoin. And another fact is, if you are a cryptocurrency exchange that is trading utility tokens, it's not as easy for you to transit in this new area, partly because of the difference in the back-end infrastructure. It could be a completely same front end with the Audible, but back end is very different. When we mention about security tokens or digital securities as shares, it comes along with a more centralized compliance, meaning that any new buyer on this exchange, if they want to buy certain digital securities, there has to be KYC, has to be AML, has to be accreditation for the investors. Another point is, when it comes to transactions between any investors on private securities, board of directors always has a role, meaning that, for instance, Adrian is a shareholder of Liquidify and also a board of director, and doesn't want to sell any shares to anyone named John, right? I have the whole discretion to reject a transaction like this. So meaning this central compliance in this security token exchange has to put that in mind. They have to offer board of directors a way to control the, which investor to sell to. So that's a key difference. So lastly, Liquidify, right? What is Liquidify? We are end-to-end digital securities platform. I'm not gonna give you a pitch here, but our focus is to do the whole chain in this digital security space, ranging from issuance, distributions, and OTC. And that's also a reason for why we're doing OTC instead of exchange. Issuance, we build on public Ethereum, migrating towards Quorum of JP Morgan for various reasons. Distributions, we're building out a scalable platform for distribution of digital securities. Imagine an eBay for digital securities for professional investors. That's gonna be the future. So now I want to use a short video to give you a sense of why blockchain could represent register of members with a case of Liquidify own STO as an example. In the following 2 minutes, you will realize the Liquidify platform, how centralized it is in the sense that issuer or any investor don't have to know what blockchain technology is, because the whole point of the platform is to allow business or companies to issue digital securities with us building the backend. So here you go. On this investor portal, you will see my friend Dre, who is wanting to apply for a Liquidify STO, and you click apply. While at our issuance platform, under the whitelist, you will see Dre's name pop up, and assuming he has done KYC in this case, for simplicity reason. But as an issuer, you have ultimate discretion to reject or approve Dre. In this case, we approve Dre because I like him. So now Dre could actually enroll for a Liquidify STO at the investor portal. As a supporter, Dre decided to buy 300 shares, which 1 share equal to 1 token. So what happens afterwards is, as an issuer, I could decide whether I want to sell him 300 shares because board of directors agree. In this case, I want to sell him shares. So you could realize after I click confirm, Dre's name is under existing shareholder list. But until then, nothing is deployed on blockchain. So when I click deploy, there are 3 steps. The first step is I will create the security token and to record my information on blockchain. And lastly, to send the security tokens to Dre. So seeing the transaction history, you realize there are 2 transactions. Shares, 300 shares are now sent to Dre. So it's also publicly filed as a transaction under this column. But I want to show you at the end and it's also the essence of a registered member. On the left-hand side, you could find a very traditional ROM, where in this ROM you could find company's information as well as how many shares has Dre acquired. In this case, 300 shares alongside with his wallet address. But on the right-hand side is what makes blockchain important. The row highlighted in yellow is Dre's wallet address, which is corresponding to the wallet address on the left-hand side. And most importantly, for the row highlighted in green, all those long characters, is actually the hash of the ROM, meaning that all company information, Dre's address, which is fake by the way on the left-hand side, as well as all the shares he has acquired, is now hashed into a string of characters recorded on blockchain in green color in this, in this scenario. When an ROM is put on blockchain, why is it important? Because it's immutable, and it's the whole essence of blockchain to be immutable. And afterwards, with the immutability, it comes with the liquidity. It comes with how distributors just work with this ledger and to provide liquidity for trading. So if you want to know more about what things will happen afterwards, comes to me after the whole event, I will explain to you. But in the meantime, I will end this presentation, and hopefully, if you want to learn more about digital securities and how it's moving going forward, you can come to me after the presentation as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Adrian. And please remain on stage because you are our moderator for an upcoming panel discussion. And I'd like to invite also the panel speaker to come up.